Hello and welcome, and thank you all for joining us on this exclusive interview with Banquo. Welcome. Thank you for coming and answering some of our most sought-after questions.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here so that we can finally discuss Macbeth in his traitorous ways.
Okay, well then, let's jump right into our first question, shall we? So, Banquo, let's start from the beginning. You and Macbeth were good friends, right?
Yeah, Macbeth was a great chap, one of the best I ever knew, and boy, if he wasn't one hell of a fighter. Or at least he was, until those blasted witches turned his heart black. Curse him.
Okay, let's not get too riled up now. You obviously have strong feelings about these witches. How did they impact your Macbeth and your relationship with them?
Yes, it all began on our way back from battle when we entered Fortis. That was where we saw the blasted witches. In the moment they said something about Macbeth being the king, he was hooked. All he would say is, do you think I'm really going to be a king? Will I be a good king? Who else could possibly be the king now? He was hooked. It was all he talked about.
Indeed, but they also had a prophecy about you, right?
The witches did, of course, have a prophecy for me. They began to speak of my children and my children's children. They said they'd all become kings. But all that talk of children and children's children and my children's children's children, it got very confusing. I just dismissed it at first.
Okay, can you tell me what happened after the encounter?
After the encounter, Macbeth seemed almost consumed with the witch's words. He was acting very, how should I say it, odd, I guess. He began to ask me, he looked at me, he said, Banquo, if I became king, would you support me? I told him, Duncan, he's a very fair, very stern man. I support him. I would never betray him.
Okay, and how did this affect your relationship with Macbeth?
After that, my friendship with Macbeth was just not the same. Macbeth had been consumed by thoughts of becoming King Macbeth.
Intriguing. Now, can you think back to the night Duncan was killed for me? Was there anything odd about that night to you?
That night was very regular. It was a run-of-the-mill night. We had a feast, we drank, and were merry. It was a good evening.
What about the morning the body was found?
On the morning of Duncan's death, I was very distraught. You could say I was in disarray. It took a while. After I gathered myself, I paid my respects. After that, I went to see Macbeth, who was handling things in a rather strange manner.
You say he was handling it in a strange manner. How so?
I mentioned the prophecies of the witches, to which he claimed he had no recollection of. Just, it had never happened. He wasn't thinking about it. They went on his mind, which was very different than what he was acting earlier. Now, all of a sudden, he hadn't thought about the prophecies at all.
Okay, and did you think at this point that maybe Macbeth had killed Duncan?
At this point, on top of all of this other pain, I didn't want to think that my best friend had betrayed his king and his country, but certainly something was not adding up here.
Okay, and what do you think about the events surrounding Duncan's death now?
Now, I just don't know what to think. I hate to believe that it's the truth, but what I've been thinking is that we have to keep an eye out on Macbeth.
Okay, and that appears to be all the questions we have for now. I'd like to thank you for joining us. I understand you and your son are planning a trip out of the country. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, I'm just going on a trip to get a change of scenery with my son Fleance. Too much happening here right now. Just need to take a break. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here. I hope one day I can take a stab at doing another interview.
Well, thank you for watching, folks. That's all we have for tonight. But if you stay tuned, we're going to have an interview with Macbeth coming up shortly.